Yep, me again, the Tin Man. Just going to have a little bit of a look at making a window motor. First thing you're going to need for this is where you'll find the perfect coil, and that's inside a high voltage transformer out of a microwave. So grab yourself one of them. Have an old clapped out microwave, because it will normally be the electronic components that break down in them. I've never seen a coil burnt out in a microwave yet. Now if you have a look at the core, it's an E-shaped core with a flat plate welded across one side, which you'll see is welded on. So get a grinder, carefully cut through those two welds and remove the base of the core, and then you'll have your two coils just slipped over the centre of the E-core, which you'll be able to wriggle off. So once you've done that, you're going to end up with one of these. We want the high voltage side one, not the primary side. Now the next thing you're going to do with this, they're wound from top to bottom, then they step out one wire width, come back up, step out, go back down. So they're wound from the inside out, top to bottom. So what you're going to do is just count the number of wires on one of the flat sides, find halfway, and then go two more wires towards the outside. Then you're going to very carefully get yourself a Stanley trimmer. When you've found that wire, you're just going to lift it out and peel it away like I've done here. So what that does now is that gives you two individual coils. So mark the start, which is the inside of one of the coils, with a bit of white tape. This one that you've lifted out and cut in half will become the end of that one, and the other bit that you've cut in half will become the start of your next coil, and of course the end, which is on the outside. So this coil that is now on the outside is going to be your run coil, and this coil which is on the inside now is going to be your trigger coil. If you use the outside one as the trigger coil and the inside one as the run coil, it will self-oscillate and keep charging the battery even if the rotor's not spinning. So if you wanted to make a rotorless pulse charger, that's the way to go. But because we want to make a window motor, we're going to use, like I said, the inside one for your trigger and the outside one for your run. Don't forget to mark the starts and the ends of both the coils once you split them. So now this is a little bit of guesswork. You'll get it close enough. Like I said, come halfway plus two winds, split it. So now we're going to measure the ohms, see what we ended up with. So this is our inside coil, our trigger coil, 29.9, so 29.9 ohms on that one. Our outside coil, which is our run coil, is 30.5. So we got it pretty close enough to do the job. Right, now that that's out of the road, second thing, the rotor. Now this one I've made, the magnets are a flat plate magnet, one side north, the other side south. I do it this way. Some have a north along the top and the south on the inside, and then the south along the top, north on the outside. They're a lot thicker. I do it this way because you get an effect like this. So you see two norths of one set of plates facing each other, next set of plates, two souths face each other, and so on around. And that gives you that kind of a magnetic field around your rotor, which is very efficient and very strong for such small magnets. The magnets are 20 wide by 50 long by 2.5mm thick, and found that to be the best way to set up your rotor for a window motor. Made a little cage here. I've just glued magnets in a circle inside. I've got round magnets on the shaft. This is just to make our magnetic bearings. You can use normal bearings if you want. I just decided to do something different and use magnetic bearings. So it actually floats, there's no friction at all on it. Point on one end, sits up against a bit of glass. So yeah, frictionless bearing setup. So, the next thing we're going to do is take our coil and we're going to sit it in the cradle that we've made. Just keep in mind which was your trigger and which was your run. Inside half of the coil is our trigger, outside half is the run. If you want to make a self-oscillator without having the rotor, swap the trigger and the run around. You will have to wave a magnet across the coil to get it started, but once it's going, it'll keep going. So there is a window motor circuit which I've posted not too long ago on one of the forums. I'm simply using the SSG circuit on this one. A lot easier to make, not quite as efficient but much simpler and easier for this demonstration. So now we've got our coil in place, we'll just slip this in place. A little bit tricky with the magnets, I want to do all sorts of things until it's sitting right. And there you have your rotor. So what I've got here, our run battery and our charge battery. I'll flick this motor back over to DC volts. Hook that up to our charge battery, like so. That's a 12-volt battery, as you would have seen in my previous videos. And that's a 12-volt battery, this one's charged. It's got 12.8688, so 12.89 volts. This one I've flattened out again, 5.66. So what we'll do now is go through and hook up the system as per your normal SSG setup. So we'll grab some jumpers. Okay, so our pot of course goes to the start of our run. And then our collector goes to the end of the run. Our emitter, of course, goes to the negative side of the run battery. Just slide that across a bit so it reaches. Now, the trigger coil, start of your trigger, sorry we got that around a bit wrong. Start of your trigger coil goes to your pot, not your run coil. Start of the run coil goes to the positive side of our run battery, which is that one. Now, the end of our trigger coil, of course, goes to the emitter as well. that's done, the end of your run battery, or the negative side of your run battery should I say, goes to the emitter, which we've already got, so we won't need that one. That one's purely holding the multimeter on. Now our high voltage return to the charge battery, of course, comes off front end of the diode. So all going well, we should have a machine that works. I've got a 5k pot on there. You'll need a 10k pot. This one I can't slow down quite enough because there's a fair bit of power coming off the trigger coil, as you would have guessed. So as you can see, starts up quite nicely. Got our 110 volt neon, pretty green one. As you can see there, fires up quite nicely. So we are getting our radiant energy spike. You can see the voltage on the charge battery is going up. Now like I said, that's a 5k pot on there, that's turned right down at the moment and it's still speeding up a fair bit. So yeah, just a easy, simple build for a window-SSG pulse motor hybrid thing. This I have tried with a window motor schematic and works quite well. I can get it down to about a 400 microamp draw. Unable to get it to self-run at the moment. I'll try a couple of different transistors, but very effective crossbreed between the window motor and the pulse motor, and a very easy build. Like I said, the coil absolutely magic, and of course very cheap. Find the old microwaves laying around on the road, thrown out, buggered down the dump, and like I said, 99% of the time it's not going to be the transformer that's fried them. As you can see, charges quite nicely, runs quite efficient. That's actually drawing about 6 milliamps at the moment, so not too heavy on the power draw. The charge rate is not too bad. Basically just a very simple build for someone that wants to try a little window motor instead of your standard pulse motor. So I hope that's helped you out a bit. Anyone want to build a window motor? Best coil around, ready made for you. No winding to do, no wire to find, that's all there. Well, till next video. Cheers from the Tin Man.